My name is Arinah. I'm 27 this year. I used to work in consulting, so I'm planning to do my master's next month. I think they're similar. There are a lot of similarities because they are fighting for very similar cause, which is having equal access to opportunities for all genders. But I guess gender equality also then touches on the discrimination men face as well, and not just women. Because feminism, I think it's quite focused on women, but they're very much interrelated. It's really tricky. On one hand, people do recognize that you should not sexually harass anyone. But on the other hand, it's that view of how people view women. In the past month, there were so many cases of women being raped. Not just women that you're not related to, but we have cases of incest. When you had a grandfather, a father and an uncle raping the same child, all because there's no respect of her as a child, there's no respect of her also as a woman, because you assert that dominance. And I think that is also prevalent when you're talking about harassment, not just physical harassment, but online harassment. So when a woman does something that people don't disagree with, the first comment will be, nanti kau kena rogol. Because they feel that that's a punishment. And they feel that they deserve that dominance over you, that you are not worthy of a person of equal respect. So in Malaysia, it's very tricky. On one hand, people are like, yeah, we shouldn't hurt people. But on the other hand, you're like, oh no, I wish you're dead. I wish, someone would rape you because you said this comment. People do have a very weird view of how they view women. They do assert that. Yeah, I think there is. I can't speak for all men, but there is a view that women are subpar. Women should be controlled by their men. The men are in the role and responsibility to discipline their wives or discipline their daughters. But then again, the question of discipline then is to what extent, right? Some will hit their wives. Oh yeah, it's completely justified, wanted to teach her a lesson. But then you're just completely disregarding her physical space, you're completely disregarding her own autonomy. In Malaysia, there is that. This is the kind of thing that women go through. I can't walk down the street without being catcalled. They feel that they have ownership of my space. But again, like I said, it's weird because if you ask a person directly, would you hit a woman? Oh no, you can't hit anyone, it's terrible. But in the end, you do see the same people, acting out and saying these things online. So it is a very direct interpretation of Islam. People go back to how Muslims used to behave back in the day, but then they don't really take it into context. Okay, fine, there are practices that the Prophet did practice, which was that there's make sure that his wives equal access to education. So his first wife owned a business. So you do see in Islam as well that women did have autonomy, but then because the scripture then says other things, or women are the bearers of children, they take care of the household. But what people need to understand is, okay, that's religion. Religion may say one thing, but what kind of society do we want to create, right? Do we want to stick to that, or do we want to stick to a society that is more understanding, more tolerant towards each other? There needs to be a discussion on an understanding of your roles and responsibilities in a marriage first. For then you can quantify something as rape. Then it goes back into understanding what's marriage. Does that mean if I'm married to someone, I'm automatically obliged to have intercourse with my husband, regardless of whether I'm feeling it or not? Then we have to have that discussion of what the responsibilities are in a marriage. Then only then people can understand marital rape. And I think marital rape is something that needs to be discussed. Because if you can already concede to domestic violence, right, and laws in domestic violence, why not then extend it to marital rape? So we need to have that discussion. Regardless of whether Malaysia is ready or not, if we wait for Malaysia to be ready, they might never be ready. So we need to push for that. Yeah. Hijab, wearing the hijab is a choice. Religious understandings aside, it's still a form of clothing. And if you can allow me to wear whatever I want, why not then extend that to the hijab, right? That's conditioning. That would be like a conditioned choice when you were young, because you're being taught that being a good Muslim or good girl is a girl that looks like this, that she wears the hijab. So it really isn't a choice. So if we are taught that since young, then it is conditioning and it's a false choice. Unless, of course, you teach the child that actually you can wear the hijab if you want to, it's an option, but you can also not wear it. Then if the child chooses then to wear the hijab, then it's probably a more informed choice. So I think that's what's lacking here in Malaysia. We don't have that informed choice, it's all pressured. I used to study in an Islamic university, and I meet a lot of girls who wear the hijab out of fear. Is that really what you want? You're a Muslim, but then like, why do you wear the hijab? Takut. Like takut apa? Takut mak marah. Oh, tapi takut nanti kena punished by God. That's such a weird way to look at religion. I'm following the religion because I don't want to be hurt. You should be subscribed to the religion because you love the religion, you love the values, and you want to do it for the religion, not because you fear like the religion. So I think that's something that Malaysia has a lot. There's so much fear entrenchment. Like, you're going to do this, nanti masuk neraka. And that's why you have so many people who can read the Quran but don't understand it. So like, I have so many friends who are Arab. When I can read signs, they're like, oh, so you know what it says? And I'm like, no. And then they're like, why? Well, that's how I was raised. Like, I was raised to hafal and do everything, but I don't understand. I have to read translation, but then we even have fights of translation, like, you know, the different versions of it. And that's the kind of, you know, environment that we have in Malaysia. It's really about fear. It's really about force. No one really discusses religion in a very relaxed manner. It's all about shoving it down their throats.